Welcome to Black Cat Movie Reviews. I'm Tony, that's Samra, and we just watched Disclosure Day, the brand new film by Steven Spielberg, starring Josh O'Connor, Emily Blunt, and who else is in the movie?
Colman Domingo,
Colin
Firth from Mamma Mia, of
Yes.
course, yes.
And so it's this new alien movie, new sci-fi, new summer blockbuster by Steven Spielberg, and it's one of the first movies we've seen in theaters in a while. We managed to see The Mandalorian and Grogu earlier this week. We saw Devil Wears Prada 2 about a month ago. And outside of that, we haven't been very busy watching movies. So that's why there's been an absence on this channel. I also cover the Cavs on my main channel. So that's a big reason. The playoffs. Yeah, I do. So that's been why it was difficult for us to watch and review movies. But we're officially back. And I got to say, I think we picked a good movie to return on. I know there's been some discourse online. Some people seem to be hating on this movie, or at least calling it mid, not really living up to the hype of a Steven Spielberg film. But I got to say, going into this movie, my expectations were not super high, not super low. I was just interested to see what a Steven Spielberg sci-fi summer blockbuster movie would look like in the year 2026, where we've had so many of these by now. So many of them from Steven Spielberg himself, right? Yeah. This is not his first time diving into the sci-fi genre, obviously. And so to see him coming in 2026 with a movie that, when you hear the plot being that there are aliens and we're going to find out about them, I wasn't sure how excited to be about that, right?
I mean, our own government just released the files a few months ago, so we're like, come on.
No one outside of Joe Rogan cares. So, I wasn't sure what to expect, but I had a feeling, Steven Spielberg, at the worst, he can't do me too bad, right? So I came into this excited with, an open heart, and I was willing to find out for myself what Disclosure Day was all about. What were your expectations for this movie, Samra?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I also was pretty neutral about it. I wasn't gung-ho, have to see it as soon as possible. Although we did see it opening day, which I'm very happy about and very proud of. But I like Steven Spielberg. I like his movies, the ones that I've seen. So I was excited too. But I hadn't seen too much about it beforehand. I only really saw the trailer, I think, before one movie one time, a little bit on Twitter, and some scenes, of course, on Twitter too, which I wasn't very happy about. But still, other than that, I mean, I feel like I was spending more time thinking about other movies like The Odyssey and things like that. Yeah. But all that being said, I still was excited about this one. So
yeah, I agree. I think this one was kind of just snuck in there into the June lineup when you have so many exciting movies on the horizon. Right. It's kind of crazy that a Spielberg movie feels like it went under the radar. Obviously, there was a lot of people at our showing opening day. People are excited about it, but still, it didn't feel like it was going to be a guaranteed hit. I'm curious what the box office numbers will be, but no one wants to hear about box office numbers. We're here to talk about the movie. And as you mentioned, the marketing, the trailers, I saw quite a few trailers just going to movies, seeing stuff on Twitter. I wish that I didn't see as much as I saw, because there is a scene, and we are going to talk about spoilers in this review. So just be aware that there are spoilers coming, not right now, but within, 5-10 minutes here. But there is a scene that is spoiled in the trailer that I was very disappointed. As soon as I saw it on Twitter, I was like, why the hell did you show me that?
Right.
I know it's in the official marketing, but I can tell that that's a scene I didn't want to see. I'm referring to the scene where you do see the alien in the trailer. Listen, guys, I didn't want to see the damn alien. Yeah. And I will admit, it's a very generic looking alien. It's the most generic alien design that you could come up with. But not to jump ahead, I actually wasn't planning on bringing this up, but I think it's interesting. What did you think of the alien design and their decision to go with the most classic looking alien? Did you envision a green alien, and you have the alien in this movie?
Yeah, I was thinking about it throughout the movie. When we first see them, I was like, is it because, I don't know what the rating is for this movie, but I'm like, did they not want to make them, did they not want to make them too scary? Because I kind of wanted some freakazoids, but I thought they were cute. I thought they were cute. Yeah. I loved how they walked. I thought that was really funny. I don't know if you caught that in the movie, but they do a weird walk.
They have a shuffle to them. So but yeah, I did appreciate that. And I think we'll get more into, in a second here, we'll talk about things we like, things we didn't like. We'll get into some of the broader underlying themes that you can infer from the movie. To me, the more that I thought about it, I think choosing to go with a very classic, straightforward, on the nose interpretation of what aliens look like was intentional from the perspective of I think this movie is trying to say something, and I don't think it wants you to get too lost in who are the aliens, what are they doing, what are they, if you think of Arrival, for example, these very abstract feeling aliens where it's your brain kind of has a trouble comprehending what they are. This movie does that to an extent, but I also think, at least in my opinion, there is a clear message that is being pushed through this movie that I appreciate. that I think is the most interesting way to read the movie. Obviously, other people will have different views. That's the beauty of art. But I think that was the decision to keep it very straightforward and not go with something super abstract, because you don't want to get lost in the details. You don't want to get lost in the weeds trying to figure out, what is this alien? Where are they from?
What makes them different from people? Why are they here? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and so the last thing that I'll say for pre-movie expectations before we get into the things that we liked is, before this movie, I said to you, I was curious what Steven Spielberg was going to do with a sci-fi, disclosure day type of movie revealing that there are aliens, because again, like, we've seen this type of story so often before.
Right.
We've seen so many alien invasion movies. We've seen government cover-ups. Like, this is something that when Spielberg first started was a fresh, new, exciting thing to put onto screen. 50 years later, we've kind of seen it before. So I was interested, what twist, what spin on this is Steven Spielberg going to hit us with? And I guess to transition into things that I liked.
Wait, real quick,
go
can
ahead.
I
Yeah,
say
sure.
just one thing that I really was curious about was, is he going to be able to top War of the Worlds, the remake with Ice Cube?
Yeah.
The best alien movie
They set
on
the
planet.
bar.
They set the bar so high. So that's what I was
last
thinking
year
about.
really upped the score. I think that's what made Steven Spielberg lock in and say, I got to come back and respond with an alien movie of my own, because Ice Cube and whoever produced that War of the Worlds movie, hey man, maybe it was supposed to be a tax write-off, but it inspired Steven Spielberg to come back and get in the studio. So thank you for mentioning that. But yeah, one of the things that I liked about this movie is that I thought it was a very engaging story, with enough there to where there was a mystery as to who these aliens are, why are they here, what is their purpose, what message are they trying to get to us. The government agency, chasing them down the entire time, figuring out what their role is in this. Like, it was engaging to me, and at no point did I feel like, okay, I've seen this before. Well, let me back up. There are things that I felt like I've seen before, but it wasn't completely unoriginal. I didn't feel like I was retreading a story that I have seen too many times before, and I thought that the movie wasn't holding my hand through things. There was enough there to where, I guess what I'm trying to say, to summarize it this way, I felt throughout the entire movie that I had to have my brain active and engaged, where I was going to be left behind. And that was something that it was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. I'm just thinking back to me. I felt very overstimulated throughout the movie, but not in a bad way. That I wouldn't classify as a bad thing, because like you said, you really have to stay locked in. And I was telling him, for an almost 2.5 hour movie, I didn't feel like it dragged at all, which I really appreciated. So
yeah, I agree. It was really good pacing, and you can bet on Spielberg delivering in that regard more often than not. I feel like from the very start, he's kind of mastered the tempo of what a movie's supposed to be. Every 10 minutes, something new and exciting is happening. Either something is being revealed or an action sequence is starting. And now this is not the most action heavy movie or anything by that means, but it is a thriller. You do feel that underlying tension. It feels like Wardex, the agency in the movie, is constantly in pursuit. They're constantly, even if you think, the protagonists have gotten 2 steps ahead of them, that gets erased like nothing. There's so many scenes where the Wardex police, or whatever you want to call them, agents rather, are on the scene immediately. And it might seem like, this is a safe house where we're going to be set up for a while. Nope, they're here already. And so that led some very exciting moments. The score by John Williams. You're the score girl, so I'll let you talk if you have any takes from that.
I mean, I didn't even think about the possibility of it being a score by John Williams, but it immediately caught my attention throughout the movie. It's just so beautiful, so magical, which is surprising, I feel like, for, a movie with those thriller elements at times. Yeah. But during those really peaceful and beautiful moments, that score just swoops in, is so calming. And then at the very end, actually, of the movie, you were on Twitter looking up like reviews and everything, and you saw that one tweet saying, telling everyone to stay until after the end credits. Not because there's a post-credit scene, there's not, but just to enjoy the score, because it is John Williams, and it could be, hopefully not, but could be his last score in theaters. And it was just beautiful. I really want to revisit it for sure. So
yeah. So did you not know that this was a John Williams score?
No,
before?
I didn't.
Okay, nice.
No.
Yeah. I think I had known that, but to be honest with you, I had forgotten. Now John Williams is a legend, so I don't mean to say that in a disrespectful way, but I had forgotten that he did the score for this movie. And so it definitely stands out. Like you said, it's very magical, very fantastical. It feels larger than life. That's another thing that I liked about this movie, is that, again, not to just keep on saying, hey, Spielberg knows how to make a summer blockbuster, but the man has proven one thing in life, and it's that he can make a summer blockbuster. this felt like a big movie. This felt like
Mhm.
a big movie. And it did, I wouldn't say that it had the event feel that we've had in recent years with movies like Oppenheimer or Dune or stuff like that. Like, I don't think there was the broad hype around this movie
Yeah.
as you maybe would have expected, but watching it, it felt like a movie. Someone on Twitter
Mhm.
again said like, hey, this is the most movie that a movie has looked all decade.
For sure.
And they meant that in a
For
complimentary way. The cinematography, the
Oh my
camera's doing some really
gosh.
sweet things.
The
I really
tracking
enjoyed that.
shots. Yeah, sorry, not to talk
No,
over,
go
but
ahead.
the tracking shots were so beautiful. There were so many times where I just, that lock-in meme with the guy who's like sitting up.
Yeah.
That was me multiple times, just because the camera work is so beautiful, and the effects, the VFX with like the car crashes and the train sequence. I thought it was so well done, and I just thought it was so great.
Yeah,
it was so good.
I'm glad that you mentioned the train sequence, because that was one sequence that I wanted to talk about.
Mhm.
Like I said, there's not a lot of action in this movie, but the action that you do get is very engaging, very thrilling. And there is one sequence where they're parked waiting for a train to go by. The agent comes up behind them and is ramming his car into their car to push them into the oncoming train. And you do get into a dilemma, because it's like, well, she has her foot on the brake to stop him from pushing them into the train. You can't jump out of the car and keep your foot on the brake at the same time. They take that narrow window where he backs up to try to ram them again. They try to jump out. They can't quite get it. And the car gets hit by the train. I was not I thought for sure they were going to jump out of the car and that would be it. But the car gets stuck under the train and it is dragging them around. They have to kick the front windshield out, climb onto the car, and climb onto the train. All the while, this dude is shooting at them. It's
my God, yeah, he comes back and he's like, guess what? I'm here.
Give them a break.
Right.
And then another train starts coming from the other way, and it's going to hit the car if they don't jump.
I thought it was so funny. We see a brief moment of the train conductor guy like looking at them and trying to notify them that and it's like, I think they're not doing this on purpose, my guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think he was trying to get the other train to stop. Is what I thought. Yeah, I thought he was trying to get the other train to stop, because he was like, there's a car coming. But no, I get what you're saying. Hey, get off of me.
Oh gosh.
But I think that whole sequence, like, this is very like classic movie making stuff, where it's like, you show the very big threat of the train there. You establish that there's a moving threat there. You see they're slowly creeping towards it. You're telling yourself, no way they're going to get hit by that train. They're going to escape. Boom, we're in the middle of it now. And then it continues to escalate. Oh, now the car is chasing them again and it's shooting at them. Oh, guess what? Now there's another train coming. There's the ticking time bomb of like, we got to get off this thing. And back to the effects. I have no idea how they did this. I'm sure a lot of CGI. I'm sure it looked like some of it was maybe practical. They were not obviously on top of a car being dragged by a train, but I wonder, did a train hit a car at all and they recomped it? I don't know, but it was seamless. At no point did I tell myself, I'm looking at a digital special effect. I really felt like they were on top of a car being dragged by a train.
With that, I'm not a VFX master in any way, but in that sequence, something that caught my eye was the tire getting caught on the track, and you just hear that noise. I thought that was, for some reason, such a really nice detail, because it made it more realistic for me, because you just hear the sound of it getting caught and within all that chaos. I thought that was really well done. So
I'm glad you mentioned that, because something that I didn't write down in my notes that I felt in the movie so strongly, and I'm really happy that you reminded me of it. The sound design in this movie I thought was really good. Multiple times I found the sound really popping out to me. One, even something as simple as Emily Blunt in the third act, she like dips her hand into some crayons and she grabs them, and you can hear them like rattling around the way she grabs it. It's just like aesthetically pleasing and
ASMR for sure.
It was some ASMR. And to tie it into another action sequence where Josh O'Connor, the Word X agents have arrived at their first safe house. They're all swarming the house, but he was out in the backfield. So he's creeping up behind them and he's going to hijack a car. His footsteps were so loud. It literally, like, that's what, when I'm playing Call of Duty, that's what the opponent can hear. That's the type of headset that they have. They can hear my footsteps from a mile away. Apparently I'm the Word X agent, because I don't hear anything. But the whole time he's creeping through the field, I don't know if you notice, I'm like, man, I can hear every single one of his footsteps, him, searching around on the fence, like, and it makes you feel like you're right there with him. And you're just like, please don't let these agents turn around. I can't believe they didn't.
I was so anxious during that for that exact reason. I was like, please don't hear him.
And then he gets into the car, rams through the building or through the house. And it's just an awesome chase sequence.
So good. Oh my gosh. Wait,
Go ahead.
Can I transition?
Yes, please.
I just really wanted to talk about how well done the scene with Colin Firth, like possessing, I guess. I don't even know. Yeah, possessing Jane. Was her name Jane?
Yeah,
My memory's good,
I believe
guys.
her name was Jane.
But that whole sequence with the back and forth of her trying to regain control and then losing it, and the cross, the, you know, constant panning back to the cross that she had in her hand and like almost bleeding from trying to connect to that to, again, regain control. I thought that was so well done, and like their eyes changing or switching colors.
Yes, there's one
good,
sequence where she's, you know, being woken up in her sleep and she's handcuffed, you know, tied to the bed, so her arms are like this, and you see her eyes. She has very bright blue eyes, and then she like goes like this, and her eyes come back up, and they're Colin Firth's eye color, which is brown. Right? Did I get that backwards? Yeah, and so you know that she has been changed, and so. That's really sweet. I thought there's another sequence in the car where they're driving and the camera's in the car looking out the windshield. You see the agents coming, you know, Josh O'Connor and his girlfriend have to duck their heads down. The camera pans, you know, over their heads as the cars go by and then turns back around and it's on Josh's face. It's sweet, sweet stuff with the camera. The entire movie.
So good.
The sound design was great. Oh, the action sequence, even when like they're invisible, right? Like, so Emily Blunt's using the device and they're all invisible, and the agents notice that there's this little glare, so they start running, and they're just running into an invisible house. They go through the window, they go through the door, they hit the fire truck. I thought there's some really good effects there, whether they're practical or digital, I couldn't tell. I'm not smart enough to know that, but
no. And I thought it was like kind of nice comedic relief too, because it's just them like getting slammed into things. Our theater laughed for sure during that.
One more good, well, I have a couple more good things, but another good thing, speaking of comedic relief, I'm already blanking on his name, but the guy who's in Thunderbolts as well, he plays Jackson. He plays the boyfriend, Emily Blunt's boyfriend in this movie. Very good comedic timing. I think he's a funny guy. You know, he's completely right in the one sequence where he's like, I feel like I'm being very reasonable during this whole thing, because Emily Blunt is going crazy. She's going absolutely wild. She's speaking different languages. She's you know, knows everything about every person she interacts with. She's like, I need you to break your phone for me. And he's like, okay, sure.
That would terrify me if you just started randomly talking or speaking Russian and out of nowhere. It would scare me.
So his reaction to the insanity going on, I thought was fun.
Can I talk about Emily Blunt for a second?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I just want to say that I thought she did a phenomenal job in this role. I was telling him she was stressing me out so bad. And I feel like that is such a complimentary thing, especially in this movie, because I really just thought she did a great job of nailing that kind of... You can really tell that she doesn't know what is going on, and she wants to know. She wants to get to the bottom of it, because she says multiple times, like, she just wants to have her own mind back, and she's sick and tired of like just looking at someone and immediately knowing everything about them and jumping into their lives and their minds. And so I thought she was so good in this movie. I just have to give her credit. And the news anchor woman.
Oh yeah. Whoever the news anchor is at the end of the movie, when they are, you know, it is being disclosed that there are aliens and we have interacted with them. Great performance from her. Very just like somber, can't believe what she's seeing, appalled by what she's seeing. Like really good stuff there. I feel the same way about what you said with Emily Blunt. One of her better performances in recent years, I think. She's amazing in Oppenheimer as well. So I won't say it's her best performance, but she's great in it. Really, I think she's very flustered and panicked the whole time, but you can tell like there's those moments where she locks in, and it's like she's just such a talented actress to go from completely scattered, like regular person to, oh, I'm like this, not deity, but like she's this person who can see and read everyone and lock in a way that like, I don't know, the contrast between her performance was really interesting to me. Josh O'Connor, again, I thought he was great in this movie. To me, he's just such a soft and sympathetic actor. Like he just oozes like sympathy for everyone he's in a scene with. I feel like I especially felt that in Wake Up Dead Man too, where I'm like, that's just a comforting man right there. Like that is just a sympathetic, comforting man, where it's like, he's like, it's okay, it's gonna be okay, and like you believe him. And there are some actors who just have that like warm kindness, that charm to them. And I think for this movie especially, it's very, it fits thematically for what he's attempting to do, bringing the truth to the public. Like, I believe that that's a guy who would want to bring truth to the public. And so
that's a really good take. Heck yeah.
Thank you. That's why we do this. This is why we pod, ladies and gentlemen. Last thing that I listed as positives, sorry, two more things. I do that a lot. I say last thing, really I have more. Colman Domingo,
Oh my
I love him
gosh.
in everything he's in.
So good.
He's got a really great voice.
Yep.
And I said during the movie, if he's not already doing audiobooks for Audible, someone needs to throw him the bag because he has a great voice.
Yeah. He's also very peaceful to me.
I was going to
When
say
he's
that
on,
too. Yeah.
When he's on screen, I feel like I'm just so relaxed. You
He's
know?
relaxing. And I
Yeah.
think he's very confident and in control in this movie where it's like everyone's confused as to what the hell's going on. And he's like, I know what's going on. I'm not going to tell you, but I know what's going on.
He had his earpiece and a mission to accomplish.
Actually, yeah. And then this is genuinely the last thing as far as goods going. Maybe more stuff will come up, but the third act in the news station. Remember earlier, I said, my pre-movie expectations. What was Steven Spielberg going to do about an alien invasion movie? Not really an invasion, but a movie where there are aliens interacting with Earth that could separate itself from other movies, and turning the third act basically into All the President's Men, or like a spotlight type movie where it's like very journalistic, like how do we break this story and get it out to the world? As two journalism majors, I ate it up. I mean, watching them go into the news station, prepping to get her on TV, going into the control room. Here's all the footage that we're uploading. You got to call New York and tell them that this is going to overtake World War III about to happen, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is going to be a bigger story. Trust us. And just watching that all unfold, I could have watched that all day.
So good. Me too. I mean, during that sequence, I literally turned to you, or I was thinking, how do I get this job? I want this job that they're doing right now. I thought that was really well done.
So absolutely love that. Are there any other things that you like that you want to get to?
I think we covered all of them, unless, like you said, something pops up later. But yeah.
All right. Well, moving into things that we didn't like, and we'll start with something that is no fault of the movie itself.
No.
We'll start with our Arrival. Shout out to Denis Villeneuve.
Shout out to Arrival 2016.
We showed up. So as anyone who goes to a movie in 2026 knows,
especially Regal,
you know that you probably got 30 minutes before the movie actually starts. Showtime's at 6:50. It's not starting until at least 7:20. And so we picked up some food. We're running a little bit late. We're like, oh, we're only 20 minutes late. I'm sure the previews will just be wrapping up, if not in some cases just starting. I've had situations where it's taken 50 plus minutes for a movie to start.
Just crazy. And real quick, I just wanted to say, again, we saw the Mandalorian movie like a few days ago.
2 days ago.
It was what, 30 minutes? 35?
Almost 35 exactly.
And that was Regal too. So that's why we also thought we had some wiggle room.
Yeah, we're like, we'll be good. Yeah. We'll be fine. Well, we walk in, and now to be clear, it turns out the movie had probably only started about 2 minutes before we walked in. Now, we were 20 minutes late. The movie must have started about 2 minutes ago. But if you have seen this movie, or when you do see the movie, you'll understand what I'm saying. This movie, it's going to sound dumb, but this movie just starts. It just starts, and you're in the middle of it.
Yes.
And it feels like you're in the middle of a third act, honestly. And so we walk in, and Josh O'Connor has already been captured by Colin Firth, and he's saying, where's my girlfriend? Here's the device, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'm like, what the, like, did we go into the wrong theater? I legitimately, I hate doing this, but I had to look at Wikipedia at the plot to make sure that we weren't 2 hours into the movie already. And so even after I had basically confirmed that we weren't, I still was like, how much of the movie did we miss?
Yeah, we were thinking, like, was it 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Like,
it felt like we had missed at least 20 minutes of this movie. And so to find out, we just strolled into after our movie ended, there was another showing of Disclosure Day that was about to be, starting in about 5 minutes. We just went in there and we're like, let's see. I feel like we missed a lot at the beginning. Yeah. Turns out we missed like 45 seconds. So I'm glad that we went. But still,
Also, just wanted to say, never in my life have I been in a darker theater than in that moment. Because we walked in when the movie started and we were trying to find our seats, and we don't want to be obnoxious with like our flashlights on to find our seats. It was pitch black dark in there. I'm talking, it felt like I was stepping into the void. I couldn't see where my steps were going. So that was also kind of funny.
It was pitch black and it was a big theater. So like big auditorium. We were seat 10 and 11 right in the middle. And I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to see what number we are.
Are we going to sit on something?
Yeah, I couldn't see. So thankfully we found our seats and we didn't miss too much of the movie. Mm-hmm. Also, and I can let you talk about this.
Oh my gosh.
We haven't had too many bad experiences, thankfully. We go to the movies a lot, and I feel like more often than not, the theater etiquette is pretty good, but theater etiquette in this one was not great.
It was not, because there was someone in our row. Is it row? Yes, it is row. In our row. Now, thankfully, at the very end, who, I mean, I know you have free will, you can do whatever, but they were on their phone the entire time. And I'm talking the entire time. But not just that. There was, during an important scene in the movie, I mean, everything's important, but you're trying to stay locked in. They were watching videos with the sound on, and I swear the same video was looping like
Oh my God,
3 or 4 times.
Maybe it was like her ringtone. I don't even know, because it went off
I don't know,
at least 3 times throughout the movie.
It was so, and we were just looking like, who is that? What is going on? And also, I feel like you got to be quicker to shut that stuff off during a movie.
No
right?
urgency.
No urgency at all. And so thankfully that was like, they didn't have their sound on anymore. I also think at one point someone's ringtone was going off for like almost a minute, which was crazy.
Multiple phones went off, lots of talking during the movie, loud enough to where even though we're a row or 2 ahead of them, we could still hear them. Lots of, stomping your feet, stuff like that.
Smacking seats. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm a noisy eater sometimes, but someone was like eating their popcorn, and I swear it felt like they were right by my ear eating. It was so
that Dolby Atmos popcorn eating.
Right, it was so distracting.
But no, and the lady next to us, I don't want to focus too much on her, but she quite literally was on her phone for the entire movie, because I got up to go to the bathroom. She was on her phone just like this the whole time. Came back from the bathroom, still on her phone. You went maybe 30, 40 minutes later. Same exact situation.
Same thing.
Every time I looked over, at least her brightness was low, but like she was just in the corner on her phone. And she also had a very loud, like one of those big water bottles in the beginning where she was like shaking it up and like trying to get the lid on. I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Please.
The only thing I'll say, and then we'll get back to the movie here. I do just want to give credit. Regal, for whatever reason, does have a rule where is it just on weekends or is it every day? You can't, if you're under 17, you cannot be there after 6.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it's like my Regal that I'm not sure if there's.
Well, this Regal, I don't know if it's just weekends or what, but they have a rule where if you are under 18 years old, really under 17, they say you have to be accompanied by a parent. And so there was a group of kids behind the lady. It seemed like they were her kids. I wonder if this is a situation where her kids wanted to see the movie. She didn't want to, but she has to be there for them. So she's like, whatever, I'll just be on my phone.
Yeah.
You have free will. You can do what you want. Getting to Disclosure Day. It's funny because I gave this movie 4 stars. I'm in between. You could talk me down to 3.5. You could talk me up to 4.5. But I don't think I could get any higher than that. And I still I can't think of too many things that I didn't like about the movie. Funnily enough, like you might wonder, why isn't this a 5 stars? Well, one, I'm very courteous, or friendly. What's the right word I'm looking for? Not courteous. I'm very generous. That's the word I'm looking for when it comes to Letterboxd ratings. I just enjoy things. So 4 stars to me is like, I give those out like candy, but it didn't lock me in enough for it to be a 5-star for whatever reason. I think that I'm nitpicking. I thought the movie could have been a little more colorful. I think for whatever reason, modern movies just are allergic to bright, vibrant colors. And this movie could have been a little more colorful, but it's fine. I also think that, I know I said that this movie felt fresh to me, but I do think that there were moments that were a little derivative, especially Colin Firth, and when he would teleport into like the room and talk to them, and he was controlling her. I felt like, am I watching like Stranger Things right now? You know what I mean? Like, and to be fair, Stranger Things was inspired by Steven Spielberg, so it's kind of backwards to be like Steven Spielberg stealing from Stranger Things. It's the other way around. Still, there was enough here where I was like, some of it was derivative. This isn't anything like brand new to me. It's still, at the end of the day, it's just aliens on Earth, very classic retro looking aliens. And so those are some negatives. What's something about this movie you didn't like?
Well, since you mentioned Colin Firth, I wanted to say I really, really, really wanted more of like, I guess, a backstory as to how he learned how to use the device. Because we see him, strapped in this chair, holding it with like the things on his forehead, and like he is using it. And of course, it is affecting his health. We see multiple times he's like having a stroke. It's affecting his health levels and everything. But I really wanted to know, like, even if it was like a brief sequence, just like, how did we get to that point? Because you can assume, okay, he's been with this company for forever. They probably all like know how to do it, maybe, but I just really wanted kind of more on that, more of, okay, why is he doing it? Is he the only one who can do that aside from Emily Blunt's character? But that was just something that I was thinking about. So
yeah. And a lot of this movie is very open-ended. We don't get answers to many different things. And in some ways, I think that's a strength of the movie. Like I kind of like the cliffhanger ending. We can talk about that a little bit later, but I like the way that it ends. I know a lot of people won't. I personally don't think we need an answer to everything in some of these movies, but I could have used a little more insight into Colin Firth's character. All we really know is that he lost his wife, and that's like his villain origin. What am I saying? Villain origin story, right? Like his villain arc started around there. He doesn't like the aliens, and I could have used a little bit more insight into like, why doesn't he like the aliens? What motivation does he have to be behaving in the way that he is? What motivation does Colman Domingo have to be, acting the opposite way? We do get an interaction between them where they try to spell out some things. He calls Colman Domingo a bleeding heart. You care too much, all that. We'll get into some of the themes about this movie later, but to me, I could have used just a little bit more backstory. Now, this is a 2.5 hour movie. I've seen people complain about the runtime. We both didn't really feel that. I thought the runtime was fine, but I get it. Listen, attention spans are shorter than ever. Right.
Yeah. So. You can't fit everything. It's not Titanic all the time. You can't do 3 hours, but yeah.
So outside of that, like, again, this isn't a 5-star movie. It isn't perfect, but when you have a Spielberg film, you know that technically all the craft elements of the film are going to be really well done. You have good acting basically across the board. An interesting enough story to where I was engaged throughout. It's hard to find many things to say that I didn't like. It's more so just like, well, it was really good, but it didn't quite hit that like 5-star, I am so in love with this movie. It's just a movie that I liked well enough.
Yes, I agree. I'm a little bit pickier when it comes to like giving 5 stars. I
feel
like
fine.
That's fine. Yeah, but I feel the exact same way with this one. So, but I had a good time watching it. So, hey.
For sure. I would definitely recommend it. And we really didn't spoil too much for you, honestly. Like, you know more or less what's going to happen in this movie. Yeah. And funnily enough, the movie ends right as that is happening. So it's really about the journey here. And so I want to conclude by talking about some of the broader themes and what this movie might be trying to say. And I want to be clear that this is my own personal interpretation of the movie. You helped me articulate it and kind of unpack it. And that's some of the most fun stuff you can do is debrief and break down a movie. So this is just my personal opinion. Some people might say that I'm reading too much into it. You might say that I'm being too woke even, but this is just my take on the film. And I'm really glad that we went back and watched the opening, 2 minutes, because in the first 30 seconds, Josh O'Connor's at a wrestling match and you see multiple in frame. You're supposed to see them red American hats. And now I don't have to tell you what a red cap with the USA flag on is supposed to represent. And so I think when you look at this movie, you could think straightforward. It's a movie about there's aliens and we're going to disclose the truth. And the truth is that we've interacted with the aliens. We've tortured them. We've oppressed them. Like, we've done awful things to them. And you have Colin Firth's character saying, well, it's patriotic, essentially, to do this. We're humans. We have to rally around each other and screw the aliens. They're going to, if we're nice to them, then they could overtake us one day. And so
if you say anything, sorry, I was just going to say, if you say anything, it's a danger. Like, you're risking our whole country by doing that.
National security issue.
National security, yes.
You're a bleeding heart if you care about them, right? Like, these things are very, like, Steven Spielberg is not adding that stuff accidentally. And so I think that there is some valid reason for me to say what I'm going to say, which is that I think you could look at this movie as an allegory or a metaphor for the way that, whether you're in America or wherever, you grow up and you have this, you're taught unbridled patriotism, right? To love your country, to protect your country, no matter the cost, no matter what it may be. And people, you hear the term alien to describe certain sets of people. You see a lot of issues that are blamed on those aliens, right? Like, I think it's clear enough what I'm trying to say here. And so I think if you look at this movie from the perspective of, we're going to disclose what has been happening to these people, we're going to open your eyes. The last words of this movie literally are listen. Emily Blunt says listen, and then the camera cuts. I think basically what they're saying is like, hey, accept the harsh reality, the harsh truth about what this country is doing. Remove your patriotism, remove those rose-colored glasses that you have of that you're going to defend whatever the country does. Look at it from what's really happening and understand that you have more in common with those aliens than the people who are controlling you and telling you that the aliens are the issue, or that you can't handle the truth of what's happening, right?
Yeah, I was also going to say, to bundle it up with the rose-colored glasses and everything, propaganda, that's also thrown in.
The device. I started thinking of that multiple times. The device, like, this is what controls you, and this is what he's using, not what controls you, but he's using it to control you, right? Colin Firth is quite literally using this device to take over other people and influence what they believe. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but this brings me back. You mentioned something earlier. You see Jane holding her cross and really like digging in deep, trying to hold on to her faith, not wanting to believe what Colin Firth is telling her, not wanting Colin Firth to take over. And I think that again can be a metaphor almost for like hey, it's right in your face what's happening, but you don't want to believe it. You're literally digging it into your fish. You're so, this doesn't read directly into the scene, but to branch out, like, I think it's so stubborn sometimes, our previous prior beliefs that we don't want to let go of, because it's difficult to have the world just crash around you and accept that, like, hey, this really awful stuff has been happening, and either I didn't know about it, or I didn't do anything about it, or maybe it was out of my control, but it's still hard to grapple with that. And I think this movie quite literally sits you down and says, listen. And I thought that was very eye-opening, and to me, that's my favorite interpretation of the movie. You could watch this as a straightforward sci-fi thriller movie just about aliens and have just as much enjoyment, but that's me. I like the broader underlying stuff. So
I agree. I do too. And we didn't really think about that much until, like, we were looking at this is why looking at reviews and, like, looking at not discourse but discussion. And
discussion. It can help spark you, because
it's so fascinating, because we didn't we didn't really.
Well, we hadn't even had time to really unpack it yet.
Right.
Like, I was still sitting in my seat when I scrolled across a tweet that had mentioned this, and I literally stopped. My jaw dropped. The more that I thought about it, the more I was like, oh my God. I'm sure I'll think about this for the rest of the night, probably. I'll think about it tomorrow, the next few days, and more things will pop up where I'm like, man, that's probably, in reference to what I just said, right? Like, I think there's even things that I mentioned after the movie that I'm forgetting right now. Like, I love when a movie has subtext, and I think there's a lot of subtext here that you can dive into and really find a lot out of. So those are my favorite types of movies.
For sure. And this is why art is so cool, because it's just, there are so many different takes that can come from it. Everyone has a different viewing experience. And I think that's really
exactly.
It's why movies are so fun. Oh my gosh. Movies and all art. But yeah.
I agree. Yeah. There's people who are going to have completely different takes, and that's all right.
Yeah.
I hope if anyone watches this and hadn't considered what I just said, maybe it sparked your mind. You're thinking, whoa, that actually does make sense. Maybe you think I'm an idiot. That's fair too. But anyways, like, that's just what the beauty of art is. That's what it gives you. And so, are there any last takes on Disclosure Day here?
Go see it. Go see it in a theater too, with great sound. You won't regret it. So
I agree. Yeah, I think go see this movie. Go with an open mind. Be engaged with the story. It's going to get confusing. You're going to try and, you have to pay attention. You have to be willing to, I know we spoiled a little bit for you, but, like, you have to understand and be willing to walk away from a movie knowing that it didn't give you the answer to everything, knowing that you were going to have to sit down and figure out what it means to you. I think this movie is already getting kind of split reviews, and anytime you have a movie like that, it's going to have polarizing reactions. But if you're into that type of movie, then you're gonna love this. And I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I'll probably stay at 4 stars, I'm thinking.
That's what I gave it to. And I'm thinking of staying there, but still really good. 4 stars is really good. So yeah, I gotta come up with a review for Letterboxd. So
same here. But that's it for our review of Disclosure Day. I want to thank you for watching. Please drop a like, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment on what you thought about the movie. Thanks for coming back to the channel. I know we've been on a little hiatus there, but we're hoping to lock in for summer movie season. We got movie reviews coming. We got other types of videos that we want to get out. And so definitely subscribe, drop a like, leave a comment, do all those things to help support us. We really appreciate it. And thanks for watching.
Thank you guys. Bye.